Yes, yes, yes. It's Raphael Dawkins, Combat Radio. And if you've not subscribed already but you enjoy the content, please kindly do so by hitting that bell icon to stay updated with news and notifications. Okay, so today we're looking at the Errol Spencer versus Shawn Porter fight. Took place in Los Angeles Staples Center, California. Okay, Spence, we see here, we'll close that, taking a nice left from Shawn Porter, tasty left from Shawn Porter. Spence was the IBF champion. He held the IBF belt at welterweight. And Shawn Porter, the WBC welterweight strap. So it's champ v champ. Who would emerge the victorious one? I don't know if you've heard the news already. Most of you may. Some of you may not. But today, in this video, we're going to look at it. We're going to look at the fight and hear my assessment. People are split betwixt the two because it was a it was a pick'em. It was a pick'em. I scored each round as it happened, and I don't add up the scores until the end of the fight, so I didn't know who I would have winning on the cards because I only tot up at the very end to prevent bias or influence. I just score based on what I see, okay, and what I saw, what I thought. The person I had an idea of who I thought would win, and when I totted up my scorecards at the end, I was very, very surprised. You see, the man here, Errol Spence, emerged the victory. He emerged the victorious one. He walked away with both. He kept his IBF belt and walked away with Shawn Porter's belt. So he is now the unified champ at welterweight. Okay, so at this point, I think I'll go into my analysis and dissection round for round. That's the best way to do it. Okay, let me get my score sheet. Okay, so round by round. Round one, I had as a draw. And incidentally, I found out that two of the judges had scored round one in favor of, wait for it, Porter. Two of the judges scored round one for Porter. I scored it as a draw. That's a 10-10 round. Okay, let us proceed. So, round two, I had 10-9. Round three, 10-9 for Spence. Round 4 and 5 and 6 and 7. 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, round 4, 5, 6, 7. I scored for Porter. And some of my notes, back and forth, toe to toe. Porter, that was for 4. 5, Porter, ring general. 6, Porter, once again, ring general. 7, more shots for Porter. 8, I scored for Spence. Spence was the ring general in that round. Toe to toe. Spence more body shots. Let's move this thing along. Round 9 and 10, I scored for Porter. In my notes it says Porter ring general. More shots, more work in round 10 for Porter. Round 11 I scored for, or around round 11 was the knockdown. Flash knockdown scored by Spence on Porter. Flash knock, that was the shot. That was the shot on the screen right now. That was the shot that had Porter dip at the knee and he touched the ground, not with his ass, but with one glove. So he didn't actually go to the canvas, but his glove touched down. That can be ruled a knockdown. That was in round 11. And I scored that round, obviously, at 10-8. Even though Porter came back reasonably in that round. For the remainder, that was a 10-8 round in 11. Round 12. More output by Spence. But Porter was still very much into it. But I gave that round to Spence. Even though some people may have given it to Porter, I gave it to Spence. I think at least one of the judges gave that to Porter. I'm not sure. I should have had that up on the screen. Okay, so that was my points breakdown. So at the very end of the round, I did the totting up, and very, very surprised. My scorecard came out at 1-1-4 for Spence, and for Porter 1-1-4. 114 for both individuals, both parties equals a draw. That's how I marked it. That's how I had it. A draw. But the judges went to the judges' scorecards and it was a split decision. And they ruled that Spence was the victor. I think one judge had it as what, 130, 111, 115 or 16. Something, there was a wide margin disparity, which I couldn't see because the thing was wafer thin, wafer close, extremely close. But yeah, that's how they scored it. I was surprised. I was very, very surprised. But yeah, just because it's a large disparity, score disparity, doesn't mean that one guy ran away with it. It just means that one judge or two judges saw Spence as edging out multiple rounds. I didn't see it that way. Well, yeah, they both edged out multiple rounds. Every round was close. Virtually every round was close. Was this the fight of the year? Was this the fight of the year in terms of action from both parties, in terms of toe-to-toe from both parties, in terms of neither fighter wanting to give an inch? A championship level? This is probably the championship fight of the year based on the aforementioned criteria. Toe to toe, no quarter given, no man wanting to give an inch. Absolutely incredible, enthralling. People had written Porter off. He was the less, he didn't have enough skill, he didn't have enough this, he didn't have enough that, he was going to tire in the later rounds. None of that really came to fruition, quite the opposite. Porter, probably his best showing that I've seen in a fight. Absolutely toe-to-toe, didn't want to give an inch, skills galore. That's what I learned about Porter. Now, Spence. I like Spence. But I have to be honest, he looked kind of wooden in comparisons to Porter, in comparison to Porter's movement, Porter's fluidity. Don't get me wrong, he was in no way a robot. He had some nice, slick maneuvers himself. He was tactically very well versed. Porter has a tendency of going in head first, which can cause head clashes. But you see the head-to-head right there. But where are we? Yeah. But Spence was very, very well trained and well versed into keeping his own head low and keeping his head off the center line to avoid those head clashes. It must be said, Porter was not penalized for his multiple low shots. Could have lost a point there, and on my scorecard, that would have meant he would have lost. So that was an interesting point. But in comparison to Porter's fluidity, I must say, Spence looked slightly wooden at times. Ever so slightly wooden at times. But that said, Porter is known to be fleet of foot. He's known to be an in and out guy. Darts in, darts out at angles, uses angles. So that much we already knew. But what was the discovery? Yeah. But still, the footwork, the moving in, the darting in and out of Porter made Spence look sometimes slightly a fraction of a second behind. And that's what made it such a close fight. Porter's movement, his slipperiness. I think he certainly earned Spence's respect, and I think he earned the respect of lots and lots of boxing fans around the world. It was truly a great fight to watch. Very entertaining, high octane, lots of action-packed, totally action-packed. If you have not seen that fight yourself, go ahead and see it. If I personally had to pick a winner of the two, excuse me, if I had to pick a winner of the two, who would I go with? I would go with Porter. I'll classify myself more of a Spence fan than a Porter fan. But like I say, as when I mark the cards, I don't tot up until the very end. So I just honestly mark down who I think won that round. And when it came down to it, it was 1-1-4, 1-1-4. People say it's impossible. How could it be 1-1-4? Well, it's not impossible at all. I broke it down earlier in several places. Yeah, so a draw. First round a draw. And of course, that's a draw. And of course, in the 11th round, 10 points to 8, not 10-9. The knockdown meant Porter got 8. So if without the knockdown on my scorecard, Porter would have won by a point. And if I had marked the first round as a win for Porter, then he'd have won by 2 points. My overall feeling as I was marking the card, what did I think I would come up with? I thought it would come up with a victory for Porter. But alas, it turned out to be a draw. But if I had to pick a winner, it would be Porter. I think there was more ring generalship from Porter. There was more intelligent aggression from Porter. And he was the bully. He was more of the bully. Well, they were both bullies, but he was the more of a bully. He was more of a bully than Spence was. Don't get me wrong, Spence was no punk in there. It was very, very close. But like I say, if I had to pick a winner, it would have been Porter. Was it a robbery? Well, it was too close to be called a robbery. It could have gone either way, but I think two judges, I think one scorecard was very kind of ridiculous. The margin was too wide. But what say you? I leave you have your say. It's Raphael Dawkins, it's the Combat Radio, it's the like, it's the subscribes, it's the comment, it's the share.